Hi everybody, Dr. Frank here. I'm making this video to discuss the MFT COVID-19 journey of 2020. We were all changed over the past year, and some had to change more than others depending upon their lifestyle, but nobody has been unaffected by COVID-19. As a natural health practitioner of over 4 decades, I've had many of my beliefs questioned within this period. I've emerged with most of my belief system relatively intact. MFT has always taught us that a strong immune system is a function of our environment far more than it's about our genetics. Plus, we've got a lot more control over our environment than the government or the insurance companies or the media would like us to believe. So if you bought into everything you were told in 2020, the world will seem like a very dangerous place. But when 2020 was all over, about the same number of people died in the US as in 2019. In fact, less people died in 2020, but the official statistics around how they died changed dramatically. While many people passed with a diagnosis of COVID-19, the number of people who passed with a diagnosis of pneumonia or the flu was dramatically reduced compared to prior years. I was told by several healthcare workers in multiple facilities that there was a great deal of pressure on them to make sure that COVID-19 was part of the working diagnosis. And I heard that there was more insurance and Medicare money available to the facilities if COVID-19 was included in the diagnosis. So those things made me question the integrity of the media narrative. I was surprised when the CDC stated in October of 2020 that fewer than 1 in 20 people who died with the COVID-19 diagnosis only had COVID. Almost everyone died of comorbidity factors. And I only heard it stated one time and it was never repeated. No doubt there are those who will see this video and they're not going to share my perspective. I became used to that in my long career as a chiropractor. Over the years, I've witnessed many situations where powerful institutions manipulated the narrative for their own purposes. The general theme here is that the predominant conversation from the beginning of this pandemic was meant to foster an environment of fear in the citizens that in the end directed their decision-making to the path of mass compliance with an agenda that does not match that of most M-field practitioners. As you all know, the size and balance of the M-field represents the body's ability to adapt to a person's immediate environment. Since the field's job is to read the environment and respond to the information, a large and balanced M-field equates to the greater vitality in every area, including your immune system. So in my view, your M-field is your bubble. The bigger your field, the bigger your bubble. Therefore, the greater your protection from a hostile environment. My goal with MFT has always been to create the largest, most balanced M-field to fend off whatever the environment throws at us, including toxins and immune challenges like COVID-19. The law of nature is and always will be survival of the fittest. In the current environment, it seems like it's politically incorrect to voice that truth. Stated another way, a person needs to be hard to kill. A vaccination can never replace a human with a healthy immunity. So one blessing during this time was that I had the opportunity to embed many of our vials with genetic energies that have enhanced the MFT procedures that we've used over the past decade. Now, even larger and more balanced fields can be achieved. In the process, we learned to have greater expectations about the optimal M field, which can now reach out up to 12 feet on each side, giving the M field a radius of up to 24 feet. I've been calling these the Superfields. In the current situation, our divided country is only united in wondering what messages can be trusted. For me, the answer is always the same. What does the M field say? So here's an interesting story. Suddenly during the pandemic, the World Health Organization decided to change the definition of the 100-year-old time-honored concept of herd immunity. They even discarded the mathematical equation used to compute it. This formula is used to estimate the percentage of the population who has achieved natural immunity in order to predict when an epidemic or a pandemic will begin to die out. Based upon the old formula, COVID-19 reaches herd immunity at approximately 60%. And the current estimate of herd immunity for COVID-19 is somewhere between 40 and 60% as I record this. Meaning we're very close to this threshold already. If you are an advocate of vaccinations, this would be an excellent place in history to insert a new definition for herd immunity. A statement that defines herd immunity as being established by a novel formula that requires new vaccination objectives to be achieved before herd immunity can officially be reached. Of course, this is exactly what happened. The 100-year-old definition was so scientific and so well established that the change took many old school professionals off guard. It left them questioning what was really going on. Many wondered whether this change was about health or was it about politics.
The coronavirus numbers this Sunday are simply depressing.
So the MFT response to COVID-19 began in early March 2020. We created a vial to attract to the energy of COVID-19 and the resulting oxidative stress response from the virus. The goal was to develop appropriate natural protocols to neutralize this energy, and we called this vial COVOX stress. Next, we researched the genetic component of the cytokine storm. We developed the cytokine storm vial as a way of grading the severity of the cytokine reaction, since not all cytokine reactions qualify to be called a cytokine storm. So next we began researching the specific cytokine reactions in the lung cells, the brain cells, the heart cells, and the white blood cells that were the result of the oxidative stress that the COVID-19 virus initiated. The first goal was to isolate the energy of genetic predispositions that revealed why some people reacted severely and died, while others were testing positive for the virus but were totally asymptomatic. What was the difference? This research was expanded to include all the known cells with cytokines, and with this information, I created the cell cytokine kit. This kit became the most popular of all MFT kits in 2020. There have been many new COVID-19 components that have evolved in the last several months relating to secondary COVID-19 considerations. These include the identification of new strains of COVID-19 and a condition that has been termed long hauler syndrome or long COVID. In that condition, the client has a relatively mild symptomatic picture initially with their COVID-19 diagnosis, but later, the COVID tests now negative, the symptoms become more severe with time. My initial reaction to the situation was just to listen to the symptoms, which sounded to me a lot like Guillain-Barré, which of course is an autoimmune viral condition. The vials that attracted in this symptomatic picture were a combination of two disruptor vials from the Biotics Express kit, the replicator disruptors and the autoimmune disruptors. So based upon the problem energies that tested with these symptoms, my working hypothesis was that COVID-19, though mild at first, later precipitated an autoimmune cascade to one or more viral energies. My clinical experience in developing protocols to mediate this situation has been generally successful, with a couple of exceptions, but those also need to be solved. So with the discussion in the literature of many new variants of the COVID virus, there is much speculation about how these strains should be handled. So it seems the most common immediate response was to question the possible need for yet another new vaccination. In considering this from an MFT perspective, needing multiple new vaccinations seemed to me to be impractical and of course doesn't align with my philosophy of achieving immune resilience. I believe that a large and balanced M field is the most important sign of a strong immune system, and that is what everyone needs to possess as they battle any immune challenge. A new specific vaccine for each strain will not really enhance overall immunity. Now, in my view, The altering of the bat virus by the Wuhan virology lab was the key precipitating factor that allowed it to cross over to humans, which is a process that doesn't happen easily in nature. The World Health Organization appears to be taking the side of the Chinese government, saying that the virology lab was not responsible. The MFT energies I am testing disagree. My goal is to develop the energy solutions needed to neutralize all new variants. In this very dynamic and ever-changing situation, MFT solutions must include the energy of the original altered bat virus. I believe that will be our best defense and is intended to create long-term immune resilience for everything COVID going forward. So to follow this line of thinking for MFT procedures, I consider the original bat virus energy to be like a blueprint that all future evolutionary strains of the virus will be built upon. So consider a car chassis, like the single electrical vehicle chassis that General Motors plans on using for many of their upcoming car models. The chassis is the basis for everything, and if removed, the rest of the vehicle would become useless. Now consider the Wuhan bat virus to be the chassis for all future COVID-19 strains. Perhaps instead of creating a vaccine for each, you just build immune resilience to the original chassis. Could this make all new forms of the virus less virulent? Our latest challenge, though, comes with the introduction of the injections designed by the pharmaceutical industry and with the assistance of our federal government. In many areas, and in my area, the primary vaccine in common use is from Moderna. And in early testing in my clinic, more than half of the injected clients have attracted to one or more energies in the pancreas support pillar. To date, the primary symptom of the people that have reacted to the Moderna vial are general malaise and muscle aches, plus, in some cases, heartburn and digestive issues that we trace to pancreas-related energies. So, of course, our next job is to find the natural support solutions that neutralize those problem energies. Now, I'm going to introduce you to the tool that I am using for this situation. It's called the pancreas support pillar. It's part of a more complete procedure I hope to be teaching later this year at new advanced energenomics seminars, but given the current vaccination situation, all online academy and previous live basic seminar attendees will have the opportunity to get it now. And the pancreas pillar support details are just these. The pancreas support pillar is the third energenomic support pillar introduced into MFT. This testing pillar contains the problem energies at the top of the pillar and corresponding solution energies at the bottom of the pillar. And this layout matches the way it was done for both the brain support pillar and the heart support pillar, which preceded it. The pancreas support pillar can be selected by the M-field practitioner to be tested in symptomatic situations that make the practitioner suspect that the client's complaints may originate from the pancreas. All right, here's how to use it. You place the pancreas support pillar against the upper abdomen of the client being tested and slowly pulling it away, looking for the locked test muscle to become weak as it is pulled away from the client. So if the lock is lost, you touch each of the problem energies at the top of the pillar to isolate the one vial that locks. Now, if you can't isolate one specific vial, test multiple vials at once until you find the combination of energies that create the lock. And quite honestly, that's probably the way it's going to go. So if you've seen the heart support pillar video, we have a similar situation with the pancreas support pillar. Often it'll be difficult to isolate one or even two problem vials, and in this case, you pull all of the problem vials and place them in a paper cup, then have the client hold the cup of problem vials while you test the remainder of the kit, the solutions down here. With the client holding the supplement solutions in their hand, again, pull the pancreas support pillar away to make sure that there's no longer an attraction. Since I mentioned the heart support pillar, I do want to tell you about a common testing situation that also relates to the pancreas support pillar. Females with heart valve issues will often have physical complaints that manifest in ways that can direct your linear thinking toward making you believe that the origin of the symptoms are digestive when they are actually heart valve related. So this also occurs in males to a lesser degree. I mention it now so that you will do a screening of both types of problem energies in all digestive related situations, and I'll discuss it in greater detail at an upcoming Advanced Energenomics live event so you can get more specific details. But if you have the pillars, I want you looking for this possibility. So this concludes the information I wanted to share with you in today's update on the MFT COVID-19 related procedures. If you're wishing to get any of the tools we talked about today, they're available through MFT practitioner support. You can order the additional vials I discussed, and you can add them to the cell cytokine kit. Be sure to also micro-test these new vials as well as macro-test them. It's incredibly important in this situation. If you do not already have a cell cytokine kit, you may wish to order one. From this point on, the kit will include all of the COVID-19 related vials that we discussed and also include a 40-minute webinar to teach you how to use it. And lastly, the pancreas support pillar that we discussed is also available through MFT practitioner support. If you are an established MFT practitioner and you have not yet taken advantage of the educational material you can receive as an established practitioner, email Corey at morphogenicfieldtechnique@outlook.com to learn what is available to you. So just to remind you, since 2020, most of the MFT educational material, including kits and pillars, and also all related videos, are available exclusively through the MFT Online Academy. Upcoming live events will be limited to the clinical and energy experience classes. Right now we have events scheduled for Oakland and in Boston this spring. So more are in the works. Watch your email and the MField Practitioner page on Facebook for the latest information, and thank you for watching.